welcome to episode 26 of the Crochet Luna Vlogcast. My name is Claudia and I'm coming to you from the San Diego area in Southern California, where we are starting Thanksgiving week. So here in the States, we are all getting ready for getting together with family and eating our Thanksgiving dinner and watching some football and just having a great old day. So I am lucky enough that I am not cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year, and I get to go and enjoy family and food at my parents' house, though we are actually catering our Thanksgiving dinner because we are vegan, so we are not eating turkey, and our local vegan chef, who is a good friend of ours, has put together an amazing vegan menu for Thanksgiving, and so that's what we will be having on Thanksgiving Day. But it's going to be delicious and fun, and I'm going to get to see my cousins, and the kids are going to get to see their cousins, so it's going to be a great time. But again, the best part of it is that I am doing no cooking. Nope, not doing it. My kids are staying with my parents right now, and so I am enjoying a little time to catch up on things and get the house ready for the holidays, which my house is like such a mess, you guys. It's like a tornado came through and just wrecked every room. So I have my work cut out for me this week. But anyway, hello, welcome to any new subscribers. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing a little crafty time with me. I have lots to talk about as always, and so I would say let's get started. Let's start with a little health update, as I always like to start off. I want to say that the arthritis has been bothering me. I don't know if it's the weather change. Sometimes weather changes bother me, sometimes they don't. But yes, I've been having some hand pain and some lower back pain that I will have to see my doctor about, because from what I've been reading, it's also arthritis related. And so having issues with your spine and arthritis are not uncommon, but they are very painful. So I've been managing. I've been doing okay. I've been trying to rest. But as the holiday stress is going to start, basically, I know that I'm probably going to end up with a flare-up or two. Usually this time of the year is the time when I tend to have bouts of flare-ups because, like I said, it's the stress level, the lack of sleep, just the overall changes in temperature, which, like I said, sometimes they bother me, sometimes they don't. But I'm already feeling some of those things happening now. So let's keep our fingers crossed that I can keep crocheting the next couple of months. But it hasn't been unbearable. It's been okay. It's been manageable. It's been more of like fatigue too, where I've just been feeling like so tired and so run down. And if you guys who have chronic illnesses know that it's sometimes just an accomplishment to get out of bed, because your body just does not want to do it, and even your mind is just exhausted. You might not do anything. Like the other day, I got out of bed, we went to have breakfast, I came back, and I slept almost the whole day. I just could not stay awake. Couldn't stay awake. I just was not functioning. And it's not that the level of pain was so much that I was in pain. I wasn't in that much pain, but I was just exhausted. I couldn't even look at my phone. It's like, I know that my brain is done when I can't focus on a pattern, crochet a stitch, look at Instagram, where I just literally just sit and just, my husband will put something on the TV and I'll watch like 5 minutes of it, and then I pass out, and then I wake up and it's over, and then we'll try and watch something else. It's just like I'm in and out of consciousness, and I just feel like so run down. So I've had a couple of days like that, and I know better than to push myself. I feel like tons of guilt because I feel like I'm just sitting there doing nothing, but literally I can't do anything else. My body will not work. It just doesn't work. Not only the body, but the mind does not work. So those are really tough days. Because what I end up feeling is like a lot of guilt because I get nothing done. But it is what it is, and it's just one of those things that you have to deal with when you have a chronic illness. But other than that, there's been two things that I wanted to talk about that have already happened. One happened before Yarndale, and then one happened a couple weekends ago. And those were two yarn related things. One was the San Diego Yarn Crawl that happens in September here in San Diego. It's a fabulous event. All the yarn shops in San Diego open their doors, and they give out free patterns, and they have what are they called, trunk shows, and they have just a lot of stuff going on. And we are lucky that we have a couple of alpaca farms here in San Diego, and so I got to spend a couple of days with Zelda, who came down and stayed at my house, and was gracious enough to drive me and a couple other people around, and we had a blast. What was funny is that we'd go, we'd be gone the whole day. We'd come back with thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna crochet, and we would just like pass out. We were so tired. But we had a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing that next year. But it was a little weird because I was leaving for Yarndale at the end of September, and the San Diego Crawl I think was a week before I left, or maybe a couple weeks before I left. And so I had told Zelda I was not planning on buying much of anything because I'm going on this trip, and I'm basically going there to buy some yarn. So I was very reserved in what I spent money on. I did buy things, a couple of I think I bought 3 skeins of yarn. Well, I have a little I'll show you in Yarnopolis what I bought during the crawl. But then I went to Yarndale, and I came back with yarn. And then a couple weeks ago it was Stitches West in Pasadena, which Pasadena is a couple hours away from where I live, so it's not that far. Some of you may say, oh, a couple hours away is far, but here in California, we are so used to driving distances. It's nothing for us to drive a couple hours to get somewhere. And when I was in the UK, I remember, I don't know if it was Sam or Beck who said, 100 miles is a long distance for someone in the UK, but 100 years is a long time for someone in the US. And that's really true because, like I said, for me, if I'm going somewhere and it's a couple hours away, it's nothing. So Zelda and I went to Stitches West in Pasadena, and we had a blast. It was such a nice event. I was really lucky. I ran into Debbie Reese, who is one half of the Periscoping Sisters, who have a podcast on YouTube. They are primarily a knitting podcast, but I watch a lot of knitting podcasts, and theirs is one that I've watched for a very long time. And so I was walking with Zelda, and I looked over and I saw Debbie, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to go say hi to her. And she was just lovely. She even invited me to go to her knitting group, so one of these Saturdays I might pop over there and join them for some crochet, them knitting. And then I got to meet Quaylen from the Quoll podcast. He was so lovely, so nice. it was so nice to meet him. And I look forward, I told him, because I think he's coming back for Stitches West in I think it's at the end of February. So I told him we definitely would have to get together and have like a meal or something, because at these festivals they're very crowded and a lot's going on. So um, you don't have a lot of time to really, talk to people. You can say hi and a couple of things here and there, but you don't. It's just really difficult to do that. So I told him that we definitely would have to do that next time I saw him. But yes, he was really nice, and like I said, it was really nice spending time with Zelda. We always have a good time. She was like my sugar mama that day, which was really, really nice and unexpected. Um, she bought me several goodies and treated me to a really nice dinner at an Italian restaurant. So I had a really good time that weekend and definitely needed it. So I got the whole day to spend with yarny friends, with yarn, and we popped over to a Starbucks and did a little crocheting, which was great because I'm on a mission to teach this lady how to read crochet patterns. Yes, I think anybody can read a crochet pattern. They just have to take the time to do it. So um, I'm like crazy about talent trying to get Zelda to crochet alpha patterns, but she's doing really well. She did Stephanie's Killmonger cowl, and she is hopefully presently working on Rosina's newest pattern. And yeah, I want to encourage anybody who is afraid to read patterns, or they think, no, I can't do it. Just find something simple. Find like the simplest pattern, the one that says chain 4, and then, single crochet or double crochet into the second or third. You can do it. I mean, patterns nowadays are written so well, and a lot of designers include video support and tutorials in their patterns that there's no reason why you shouldn't try and get out of your comfort zone and read a pattern. So yeah, so she's doing really well with that. And like I said, I'm really enjoying spending time with Zelda. She's a really a very kind-hearted, generous person. And I, I have a lot of friends online friends, which is super amazing. But it's really nice to sit across from someone who shares your passion for yarn and crochet, and that you can talk about things like that without having to worry about whether they're getting bored or they're not listening to you. So I just find that really stimulating. So that's a lot of fun. It's the same thing that happened when we went to Las Vegas, and it was Stephanie and Hannah and Zelda and I. We were just like talking and crocheting. That was a lot of fun. So I look forward to doing more of that. One of the things that I haven't talked about that has been a really great thing that's happened to me came out of the San Diego Yarn Crawl. I got to meet a lot of the shop owners that I visited, whose shops I visited, and I met one in particular, Kat from Kat's Yarn and Craft Cottage, I believe. Let me look. Yes, Yarn and Craft Cottage in Julian, California. Julian is about an hour away from Escondido, where I live, and it's up. It's a like a little tourist destination. I guess they do a lot of. They're known for their apple pies. They have apple orchards, and you can go pick apples, and they have a lot of stuff going on over there. It'll snow, and people from San Diego go up there to, play in the snow. And it's just a little quaint little town. So she's got a cute little yarn shop there. And I was there, and I actually happened to meet Stephanie and her mom there. And we had a little chit chat, and she saw some of my buttons. And she said, I want to carry some of your buttons in my shop. And I said, that's funny, because I wear my buttons every time I go on these crawls or festivals. I wear my buttons, and I hardly ever get anybody to say anything about them. And she right away had said to me that she wanted to meet after the crawl and sit down because she wanted to carry some of my buttons. So I was really happy about that. So if you go to Kat's Yarn and Craft Cottage in Julian, California, you can actually purchase my buttons there. But what was even more exciting was that Kat is very pro crochet, very much embraces crochet and wanted to have more of it in her shop. And I showed her some of face patterns and Rosina's and Deanne's, and I brought samples of the stuff that I had crocheted, and she was like blown away. She just couldn't believe it. And so we are hoping to at some point in the future get together and develop a crochet weekend or a retreat up in Julian, which I think will be amazing. So we are working on that. I don't have dates right now, but as soon as I get something ironed out with her, I will let you know. Like I said, it's a nice little town where we would get together and just, you know, talk yarn, crochet, and then she's got her lovely yarn shop that would be accessible to us. But yeah, that's one of the big things that came out of the San Diego Yarn Crawl, is that I was able to connect with a shop owner that was interested not only in my pins, but also in developing crochet in her shop, so that it is goes beyond the, you know, the normal granny square, or just, you know, it's one of the things I was telling her, that when a lot of times when you go to yarn shops and they have crochet, it's not usually the crochet that you go, wow, I want to make that. No offense to the granny stitch, because I am a huge granny stitch fan. No offense to any of the things that we are used to seeing that represent crochet. I am not trying to belittle that at all. But what I was telling Kat that I would like to see is that crochet design has come along so far, and we have these amazing designers making these amazing designs, that it would be nice to see them as samples in a shop. You know, the reason why I'm attracted to knitting is because I go to yarn shops and I see the most amazing shawls, and I see the most amazing sweaters, and I see these great socks, and I think, wow, I want to make that. So I feel like if yarn shops educated themselves and put up samples of some of the lovely modern and sophisticated designs that we make, that it's going to elevate crochet in people's eyes, and say, wow, I didn't know that we can make that in crochet. When I wore Rosina's shawl, the Rapture shawl, I remember we were at who was it? Was it Hooker's Corner? No. We were in a yarn stall, and this lady came up to me and she couldn't believe it was crochet because of the way it looks. And I think that's the level of crochet that's out there, but that's not the level represented in yarn shops. So I am on a mission to try and change that. So yeah, I have samples of my stuff in her shop. I left her, I brought everything that I had crocheted from those patterns, and I had her pick whatever she wanted so that she could show it in her yarn shop. So let's keep our fingers crossed that you know, snowballs into something big. It's just, I love crochet so much, and I want to see it highlighted in the best possible way. So that was one of the nice things that came out of the San Diego Yarn Crawl. Okay, so let's talk about part of the title of this episode, which is called Socknado. This is the wrap up of our Socktober crochet along. And as I said before, I was really blown away by the participation on this crochet along. Was a far and above and beyond the biggest crochet along I've ever been part of. it was huge. It included various podcasters and bloggers and designers. I mean, we had a lot of people participating in this crochet along. I hosted the chatter thread, and I went in and I started from October 1st and I finished on October 31st to see how many people have participated in the chatter thread. And we had 62 participants in that chatter thread. Of the 62 participants, 43 people posted. Well, I would have to say less than 43 people, but there were 43 finished socks that were posted in the chatter thread. So if you posted on the FO thread for Catherine of Crafternoon Treats, that means, and you didn't post in my thread, you finished a sock, that means you probably had more than 43 pairs of socks that were crocheted during this crochet along. That is a huge number. And a lot of first-time sock crocheters, a lot of people who had wanted to crochet socks and just didn't have, you know, that little extra push that the sock along gave them to start crocheting socks, and not only that, but to finish a pair of crochet socks. So I know that there's probably more than 43 pairs, but I, as always, will be doing a little slideshow of all the finished crochet socks that were posted in the chatter thread. In the chatter thread, there was also, I had mentioned last podcast, I was going to draw 3 winners, and I have chosen the 3 winners. Well, I haven't chosen, I random number generated the 3 winners. And the way I did it is basically I physically wrote the names of people who participated in the chatter thread in the month of October, just so make sure I didn't have double entries. I just put their names. If you left a comment in the chatter thread, your name went in the list. And then I just numbered the list 1 through 62, and then I popped that into the random number generator, and then we got our 3 winners. So are you ready to find out who our 3 winners are? Okay, number 1 is Kaylee, who is Callum Brow. I will put her name here. Kaylee is going to get, I guess I should have brought the prizes to show you guys. So give me 1 second. Okay, I've got my prizes. So Kaylee will get the Sylvan Tiger yarn. It's a beautiful set with this amazing sock bag. And she will also get the 3 pins that I had talked about, which are the Happiness is Crochet pin, and we've got our Crochet Suck Along pin and our Crochet Clan pin. Those will be part of the prize package, and everyone who wins a prize will get those 3 pins. So number 2, we have a winner who is Olivia, who is Olivia JDE. I'll put her name right here. Congratulations, Olivia. You have won the beautiful junk yarn colorway, that I cannot pronounce because I could never figure out what it was, but it's a beautiful colorway with the beautiful bag that Hannah from the Cozy Cottage made, with the Frida and the sugar skulls. So that's your prize. And then my 3rd place winner is Heidi, who is Heidi Hovey, I think, and I'll put her name right here as well. And she is actually in Finland. So this Crochet Luna bag will be traveling to Finland with 3 of the pins that I just showed. So congratulations, everybody. Again, thank you so much for participating and for posting your pictures on the chatter thread. That chatter thread will remain open. It will always remain open for you guys. There's just too much good information there to close it. Tamara from Crafty Escapism is our resident sock guru. So if you have questions, she is so good about responding and helping and directing you to videos and links and patterns. I sent her an email and I said, I wish I would have been more active on that chatter thread, but she just did such an amazing job. I just want to say, Tamara, thank you so much for doing that for us. And so I look forward to next year, and yeah, maybe I will have my socks finished by next year, because you guys saw the last episode where it was attempt number 7, where we are now on attempt number 9. And just a little quick recap. I think I have been using the wrong size crochet hook. And it finally dawned on me that I couldn't crochet any tighter than I already was. It was hurting my hands. And I thought, I don't understand what's going on. Because when I made the first sock, I didn't alter the pattern at all, and that sock fits perfectly. So it finally dawned on me, you guys, that I might have been using the wrong size hook. So I frogged it back to before the gusset, and I will attempt the gusset and heel in a smaller size hook. So that's where I am with that. Moving on with the next cowl, which is the box of ornament cowl, which has come to a close. All that's left now is to swap ornaments, and I want to make sure that I didn't get this wrong, because I was looking back and I only found one person who wanted to swap ornaments. So Myra and I will be swapping ornaments. I've already contacted Myra. But if you are not Myra and you emailed me, please email me again, because I thought I had seen a second person who wanted to participate, but I could not find the email. But yeah, I've got a lovely swap cut happening with Myra, and I am looking forward to doing that swap. It was, I think if even one person participates in my cowls, I am more than happy. So yay, I look forward to doing that, to making up that ornament. I already have my pattern, and I have my yarn, so I just have to sit down and make the ornament for Myra, so I can send it off to her. The other thing I wanted to mention that is holiday related is I will be doing another Christmas card swap this year, like I did last year. Last year I painted a card with my Christmas witch on it, and that went over really well. I usually only print 25 cards. So if you would like to exchange a Christmas card with me, please email me your address. My email address is crochetluna.claudia@gmail.com. It is in the down bar. It is right here as well. I would say let me know by December 10th. Send me an email by December 10th, and I am looking to put Christmas cards in the mail by December 15th, which should be enough time to get to you by Christmas. So you're not going to get it the first week of Christmas. I'm sorry. I just don't have the time to get the artwork done. I've been working on it little by little. But I think you'll like it. I think it's going to be cute. So I will reveal the artwork on my next episode. I am planning a December episode. So, but if you would like to do the exchange of cards, send me an email by December 10th, and then I will send you a card in the mail by December 15th. So let me know. I will make a note right here to remind myself what the dates are. So, and I will put the dates in the down bar as well, because that was a lot of fun. Last year I received so many cards. Like I said, I do a 25 card run. I print 25 cards. I was left with 0 cards. I only kept one for me, just for the artwork, but all the other cards went out, and that was really nice. And now It's confession time. Oh my God, you guys. I was so gung-ho. I'm almost embarrassed, I have to say. I am slightly embarrassed about what I'm about to say. Because I was looking at my episode from the last episode. So I was trying to, get some details about the prizes and how I was going to do things for the prizes for the different giveaways that I was doing. And I am listening to me blab about how I will not start new projects because I'm going to be all about finishing my current whips, which are still stressing me out. And how I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And you know what? I've done nothing. Nope. I have managed to finish 0 whips in November. And part of it is because I went to my sock and I failed at it yet again. And I was like, you know what? I need to do something else for a little bit. And then I kept going places and trying to figure out which projects I could take with me. And there isn't one project that is in my whip pile that is what I call a traveling project. They are projects I really need to sit down and focus on. So I didn't have anything to take with me, and that was really frustrating me. And so I have finished nothing. Have I started stuff? Yes. But everything I started, I finished. So that's the only thing. I'm at exactly the same place I was whip-wise from the last episode. I have not added any whips. I have not finished any whips. And I do have finished objects. So that's not too bad, is it? I mean, but oh my God, you guys. I'm like, I will not start any new crochet projects. I refuse to do it. It's almost like saying I'm going on a diet and I'm not eating any more chocolate, and all you think about is chocolate, right? That's all. The minute you deprive yourself of something, that's the only thing you think about. So thinking that I could not start anything made me just want to start everything. But luckily, like I said, everything I started, I finished. Like a maniac. I will still be using the hashtag CalWhipFinishLine2018. I'm still going to try and finish something from my whip pile, and I'll use that hashtag. It's not a cal, it's not anything like that. It's just something to keep track of these 2018 projects and seeing how many of them I can finish in the next 4 or 5 weeks. I'm laughing at myself because I'm thinking, you know what, you're not going to get anything done. But it's out there. Here is the hashtag. If you would like to share things that you're finishing by December 31st using that hashtag, I can take a look at it, and I can feel proud that you have finished something, okay? I will be proud for you and with you that you have actually finished one of your whips. So, all right, let's see. Let's look at some notes. Now, do you see the guy back there? This guy right here. I don't know if I have talked to you guys about this, but I help teach art classes at my local elementary, my kids' elementary school on Fridays. And it's from kindergarten all the way up to 5th grade. And so during the summer, we were developing some curriculum for it with the lady that I help teach. And one of the things that I brought up to her is that I thought it would be a good idea for 5th graders to develop some comic book art. So I did a little research on comic books and things like that, and it just so happened that, Stanley passed away recently. And so I just wanted to share a little bit with you. I feel like one of the things that I like to talk about on my podcast are artists and art. And so that falls into, maybe I need a name for that segment. You guys throw some names out for an art segment on the podcast that I can use. Because I think I want it to be something that is recurring. I think it's interesting. And it's part of the creative process for me. I love to read about art and artists. So I was looking up some notes and I was looking up some brief history of comic books. And a lot of people in the fiber community, you know, have their feet in nerdoms and fandoms, you know. And I'm like, I feel a little bit on the outside of some of these things because as much as I love everything that has to do with fandoms, I didn't grow up being fans of these things except for one thing. I'll mention it later. But when I met my husband, he was definitely someone very knowledgeable about different fandoms and comic books. He collected comic books when he was a kid. He grew up with these stories. And so for me, I'm sort of like a new nerd. I'm a newbie nerd because I love everything about it, but I'm not very educated about it. So I thought I would share some of what I've learned with you guys. And for some of you guys, this might be already like, okay, we already knew that, but I'm sure some of you guys probably don't know some of this stuff. But looking at the history of comic books is really interesting because in this country, comic books really didn't become popular until the 30s, until the 1930s, which is the start of what they call the golden age of comic books. And the first modern comic book was published in 1933, and it was a comic called Famous Funnies. I'll show you a picture of it. So here's a picture of the first comic book, modern comic book, that was published in the 1930s. And on the heels of that, we have Superman, who was published, Superman #1, that was published in 1938, which is this one. Now, have you guys heard the story of the guy who was, I think he was doing some renovations in his house, and he pulled up walls or drywall, and he found one of these stuffed in the wall, and it was worth like $1 million. Crazy. I'm sure if I pulled up my walls, I'll probably find rat poop, and that's about it. But yeah, so Superman, 1938, that was like the biggie. And then what you have is those first comic book heroes were pretty powerful beings that, you know, they didn't worry about too many things, and they were very powerful. You had Superman and Captain Marvel, Captain America and Wonder Woman, those type of things. But the reason Stan Lee is really important in comic book history is that he developed comic book heroes that were more what they call naturalistic. And what does that mean? It means that the heroes that he created actually they had things like, you know, they got sick and they were worried about paying their rent, and they were more relatable as people. They weren't like these super powerful beings with no problems or issues. So that's one of the big things that he contributed to the development of the comic book hero as we know it today. Think of Spider-Man, who he developed with, let's see, Steve Ditko is who he developed Spider-Man with. But the one comic book that was super, super popular that he developed, which was Fantastic Four with Jack Kirby. You can see it here. This is the first one. This was incredibly popular at the time. And this was incredibly popular not only with kids, but with college students and an older set of people. So while Superman was this great hero looked up to as a kid, now these kids are grown up and they're off to college, and maybe that Superman character was no longer relatable to them, but people like Spider-Man and um, the heroes that came after that were much more relatable. And that's one of the reasons, among many. I mean, if you wanted to read about Stan Lee, there's 1,000 online articles, there's a biography, there's a lot of information there that I thought was really interesting about that. And so this is some of the stuff that I'll be sharing with my 5th graders when I talk to them about comic books. Oh, and look, this is the first instance of Spider-Man. It wasn't his own comic book. He came out in Amazing Fantasy. This is the first time Spider-Man came out in comic books. And, you know, what's interesting about comic books is that, you know, my children, right, are not reading comic books, but they know, they've seen every Marvel movie. They know who Spider-Man is and Captain America, and they love those movies. They absolutely love those movies. So, this thing about comic book heroes is not just something that, you know, oh, it's from the 1930s, it's not relevant. No, this is something that is impacting
because
our lives now. Because we only have an hour to do the art project, they need to come prepared with a character and a story, and they will be working on a little comic book spread. So that has nothing to do with crochet, except you've got people like Hannah who were running a nerd along, and also I believe it's Holly and Lacey from Hooked on Owls and the Proper Pineapple were also doing a nerd along as well. So these are things that in our fiber community, a lot of us are interested in. You know, you've got your Harry Potter fandom, you've got your, you know, your video games, and so many things that are pretty relevant in our lives. Now, as I said, I didn't grow up reading comic books, but the one thing that I do remember very well from growing up was I was a huge Robotech fan. So this is like in the mid 80s. I loved Robotech. Even now, I have the full box set of Robotech. I have everything. And I have books on it, and my husband was a huge Robotech fan, and it was really funny because I think it was one of the things that he and I connected on is that we liked this show because we grew up watching it. So I had hoped to do a sewn kind of cowl scarf or thing for Hannah's nerd along that had Robotech and a Robotech inspiration on it. I just ran out of time. I'm still thinking about doing something anyway, but yeah, I mean, when I think of a fandom, I don't think Harry Potter. I think like I grew up with, you know, like Scooby-Doo and you know, like Robotech and Voltron and He-Man, and those are the things that I remember, and they were all on TV. I never read a comic book. So let's move on to some yarny goodness. Let's talk finished objects. Yes, I have 3 finished objects that I am super happy with. Well, let's see. Yes and no on one of them, but I'll explain to you why. But first one I have for you is I have a couple hats. I mean, it is hat season, and look at that pom-pom. This is a hat that I made with my son's football team's colors. So my little son, he is 8 years old. He played Pop Warner tackle football, which any of you moms who have your kids playing tackle football, you know, can be so stressful. So he played tackle football, and they were undefeated the whole season. They tied 1 game, and they made it into these playoffs. And so football season was like never ending in this house. But finally I said, you know what, let's make a hat with his colors, and I made this hat. Now the pattern that I found for this hat is a free pattern. It is the Ocean Shades pom-pom hat by Crochet for You. This is the pattern. Now I shortened mine. I didn't want it so slouchy, so I made mine I think I took 3 or 4 of the repeats on top off. I always knew I was going to put a palm on this hat. I just thought I was just going to make one, but Amy, who is the other half of the Periscoping Sisters, posted on her Instagram these amazing palms. And so I immediately went to the shop and bought 2. And they're really well priced. I think these were $6. And they're huge. And they're super fluffy. So the ladies who I bought it from, her shop is Jess Gas Yarn Cafe on Etsy. I'll put it here. And so I bought 2. I bought this one that I put on the hat. And I bought this other one. And look at how fluffy these are. These are just so fluffy. So I really like the way these look, and I really like the way it came out, and I thought it was the perfect little addition to this hat. I'll tell you what I have realized about myself is that I love the end product, did not enjoy the process of weaving in ends because every row has a different color. So I gotta get over that because there's so many beautiful patterns that have more than one color that I mean in the end it was no big deal to weave in the ends, but I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many ends when you're switching colors every other row. But look how pretty that looks. I think maybe I'm a lazy crocheter. I think so, because like I just want it done and out. That's what I want. I want it done. I don't like if I have 2 ends, I'm like, I got these 2 ends. I don't know if you guys remember last year I had 13 projects and like 5 of them had like just me weaving in the ends. One project had 3 ends to weave in. I'm just saying. So that is my first whip. My second whip is also a hat, and I found this pattern because my really good friend, my best friend Frank, called me and he says, I'm heading to New York, I need a hat, where's my hat? And I was like, okay, let me do this. And I didn't get it done in time. So sorry, Frank, your hat is sitting here. But I had 2 skeins of what was that yarn? West Yorkshire Spinners Croft, I believe, and it's in this amazing colorway. Okay, this is the hat. It's really long because what you're supposed to do with this hat is you're supposed to curl up the brim so that you get it to the size that you wanted, and then you can wear it. The pattern is a free pattern. It's called the October Snowstorm Hat by Leah Addis. I don't know. So you see how it's rolled up so that you can make it. And here, I'll put the pattern. There were a lot of people who made this hat, and that's one of the things that I like to look at if I'm going to attempt a pattern. I like to see that other people have done it, and then I like to read their notes about it. So look at the stitch definition on this hat. It's beautiful. It's dense. There's no holes. The ribbing is beautiful. But here's what I don't like about this hat, and this is the first time I've done it. Believe it or not, I have never done a hat bottom up where you have to like gather it. I don't like the way that looks, like at all. I think it looks weird and lumpy and messy. Did not enjoy. Here's the inside of the hat. I didn't enjoy that at all. I definitely enjoy working top down in the rounder spiral because it gives a better, to me, it gives a better finish. Now, if this hat was for me, I would stick a palm on it and I think it would look super cute. But this hat is for my friend Frank, and I don't know that he's going to be walking around with a little furry palm on top and be happy with that. So I'm gonna give it to him and hopefully he likes it. It's in this stitch, you guys should do this hat just to learn how to make this stitch. It is, like I said, it is dense. Look, I can't, it's hard to poke through it. It's dense. It's really, really stretchy. The stretch on this is really nice. And it's a nice hat, but I don't like this thing. The other thing I'll tell you is that somebody did put in the pattern that the way the pattern is written is if you do what you're supposed to do at the end of each row, you end up increasing stitches. And so you start off with, I believe you start off with 50. I started off with 50. The pattern says 60, but I did 50. Other people had suggested 50. So I started off with 50, but then I started seeing it grow this way, and I'm like, well, what's going on? And so that made the cinching part even more difficult, because now I'm trying to figure out why my supposedly square panel or rectangular panel now looks like it's like this. So I recommend the pattern, but I recommend that you read through the notes. I love the stitch that you get. I love the stitch that you get with this hat. I think it's a great stitch. I would love to use that stitch in a top down hat. So, and it's like I said, this is a warm yarn. Let me see if I can find the tag for it so I can read you what this yarn is made out of. So a couple more details about this yarn, which I really love, is that I would say this has a rustic feel, but it is definitely not itchy, not to me, and it definitely feels like it's going to keep you warm. This is 100% Shetland tweed Aran yarn. It's 100 grams and it's 182 yards is what you get. So the colorway that I have is called Moss Bank. I couldn't find the band, but I wanted to pull this information up for you guys. You can see it's really pretty. This is what I have left of that. It's got different colors in there. As you can see, some oranges and some blues that are reading like purple. It's just a really nice yarn to work with. I loved working with the yarn. And I actually think that to make a nice warm hat, this yarn is perfect. The stitch is perfect. I just did not enjoy the construction of going bottom up and then cinching the top of the hat. That's the only thing that I'll say about that. And like I said, I'm going to gift this to my friend Frank. Hopefully he'll like it. But I definitely recommend the yarn 100% for sure. Definitely love this stitch. I have never seen this stitch before, and it's super simple. I would just say read the notes and just be aware that there is a little bit of an issue in terms of managing the increasing on each row for the pattern. That is FO number 2. And then we'll move on to, so I gotta tell you guys a story. I had my frustration with the socks, and then my frustration without having a project to work on. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start a sweater. Like, I know I have my blur sweater, but I wanted something chunky and big, and I thought if I have something that's not finger weight yarn, maybe fingering weight yarn, maybe I can finish something over the weekend. I don't know why I was obsessed trying to finish something over the weekend, let alone a garment. Don't even ask me why. So I got a pattern, and I was excited about using yarn from Stash, not buying any more yarn. And I sit down and I realize I don't have the size hook that the pattern calls for. It's a 15mm hook. I have a hook that is blue and it's not tagged, that I spent like 30 minutes online trying to figure out the size of this hook, and it turns out that it's labeled as a P or a Q, which should be a 15mm, but actually the hook is 15.75mm, I believe. Why people, manufacturers, make hooks without having some way to identify them is beyond me, because there's not going to be a hook gauge for this size hook. This is the hook I'm talking about. You see that? This hook is actually 15.75, a 15.75 Q hook that I actually put a little sticker on so that I'll know later. So I was trying to do a swatch with this hook and it just wasn't working. I got frustrated. So I ordered a hook, and then I moved on to another pattern that I saw that I thought, oh, well, you know, this is worsted weight yarn. Let me try this pattern out. But I ran into some issues with the pattern, which the designer has been really, really good about communicating with me. And so I had to shelf that sweater. So at this point, I'm just like losing my crojo, really frustrated, not wanting to start anything, and Rosina popped up her newest shawl pattern, which is Release the Hounds. Release the Hounds. And I commented that it was I really liked it. It was really pretty, and she very nicely gifted me the pattern, which I told her I am printing this thing out and I'm starting it today. So I printed that pattern out, and I could not stop crocheting it. I couldn't stop. I literally had to tell myself, put it down, Claudia, and go to bed. I was, I think, maybe 4 or 5 rows from finishing it. From when I don't know. It was like I was in the Twilight Zone crocheting like a utter maniac. And it was all yarn from Stash. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, I'm going to use this yarn that I bought probably 3 years ago at a yarn festival in Long Beach. I think it was one of my first or second yarn shows that I ever went to. And it was a small little booth. And I remember the dyer was just starting out. I think her name was Erica, I think. And she had these yarn cakes that were really, really pretty. And we started talking, and she said she was trying to do gradients of some kind, but it was so labor intensive, and something had happened that she didn't want to do them, and so she just had these like one of a kind colorways that she was selling, and I happened to buy one of them. And so I made a hat, and I ended up with almost half of a ball, because the hat was for a toddler, of this yarn, which I've been looking at for like all this time, thinking, what can I use this yarn on, because it's so pretty. So I printed out Rosina's pattern, as I said, Release the Hounds, and I went to town on it. And this is all yarn from Stash. So, ooh, and I just dropped the ball of yarn. So this is my Release the Hounds shawl. And I love it. I can't even tell you how much I love this pattern. I love, love, love this pattern. It is it's not hard to memorize, but the ball of yarn that I was telling you about is, okay, it starts here, and it goes into this color, which is like a gray color, and it goes into this blue, into this light blue color. So this is all one yarn ball right here. This orange into the gray, into the blue, which I don't even know how she did that. It's just amazing to me, because you would think all of this would get weird and No, it's just vibrant like that. It's really pretty. And then I had a ball of this unlabeled yarn. And I thought I'm going to combine this yarn with this other peachy color yarn, because you won't be able to tell on camera, but this is actually two different colors. This is a solid color, and then I introduced this yarn I just showed you that has the white. So I went through another little ball of yarn that was in stash, finished that off, picked up this yarn and just introduced it on there. And then I went ahead and happened to have a couple balls of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, I think this is called. Wool of the Andes, 100% Peruvian Highland wool in the color Cloud. This is from like a little thrift store haul that I bought a bag, and it was full of really good stuff. And it had 2 balls of that. So I went ahead and striped it with the Wool of the Andes, and then finished off, because I ran out of this one. These 2 stripes down here should actually be Cloud, but I ran out of yarn, so I said I'm just gonna go back to the pink. I have some of the pink, and then I ended up with this amazing shawl. I mean, I was telling Rosina, it is exactly what I needed. I needed a project that I could crochet. I needed a project that I could put in my bag, because I think I went on a car ride with my husband and I was working on it. I needed a project that I could just crochet on without having to like count and worry and think about. I just wanted to put hook to yarn. I mean, it just was one of those things where I had gone through 3 projects where I just could not get them off the ground. And to be able to finish this shawl, I think I finished the shawl like, I don't know. I don't even want to estimate, but maybe 12 hours? I don't know. Less than that? I don't know. I mean, I could not stop crocheting on the shawl. I loved it so much. So this is my FO, and as like I said, I've got 3 FOs, 3 projects I started, 3 projects I finished, and I love it. I love the way this looks. And if you want just a simple pattern, you know what's really cool about it is that it's long and shallow. I like long and shallow triangle shawls. I think that they do really well when you wrap them around yourself. This stitch makes things a little dense, which is nice for the winter. Like, I would love to make a blanket with this stitch. I think it would be really, really nice and warm. So that is my FO number 3. And I highly, highly recommend that if you want a nice, look at how beautiful her colors are. And the drape of her shawl is a little bit, hers, it looks a little drapier than mine. And I was telling Rosina I have an alpaca yarn that I want to use, that I'll probably do my second one in, because I want to make one that's just very subtle colors. I know, crazy, but yeah, I love this pattern. So thank you, Rosina, for saving my crochet sanity. I told her, you saved my crochet sanity, because I was losing my mind. I was like, you know, and I'm surrounded by patterns and yarn. I really am. I have access to books and patterns, and it just felt like everything I picked up, it was like an obstacle. There was something that was keeping me from doing it. And luckily this pattern came into my life and like restored the balance. So I am now ready to move forward, and like I said, I've heard back from the designer, and can't wait to make this sweater. And then I've got my correct hook for this other sweater that I want to work on. And so we will be moving on, and happily moving on. Moving on to Yarnopolis, which is my segment where I show you all the goodies that I've acquired. I want to start off with my San Diego Yarn Crawl goodies. And the first one is this nice tote. that shows you the way that they did it is they you got pins for every shop that you went to, and then you could put them on your bag. And as you can see, the only thing I missed one alpaca farm and I missed one shop. But Zelda and I hit every single one of those places all over San Diego. We were driving. And so, oh, and she was lovely enough to get me a tote because I was not going to get the tote. But I love it, and it was keeping all my stuff in there while we were crawling. And so I was very reserved, as I said, because this happened right before I went to Yarndale. And I was looking more for things that were maybe not necessarily yarn, but I was looking for patterns and bags and things like that. And I found this thing that I'm really happy to show you because I had not used it. And I found it at South Park Dry Goods in San Diego. This is their little pin right there. And they sell beautiful yarn and they sell fabric. So I saw this and I thought, I mean, I just loved it. And I was like going on and on about it, and I didn't realize that the person I was going on and on about was the person who actually made it. But it is called a thread catcher, I guess. But it's this little I don't know, what do you call it? A little bag, right? And it's got this like little weighted, it's heavy, and it's got this little like contact fabric so that you can put it on a table or on a chair. You can put your yarn in there, or you can put whatever you want in there, but it stays put. So it's like a little yarn bowl that you can put on the side. And then there's a little elastic there for your scissors. And it's made by a lady who was there, Judy Patootie. This is her card. And at first I thought there was a pattern because this was in the fabric section, but there is no pattern. This is her design, and I loved it. I just loved it. So now I can use it. The other thing that I got was, I've been wanting to try this yarn out. It's from Wool and the Gang, and it's their Regia sock yarn. And this I got at Apricot Supply. So this is, let me open it so we can see the colorway. Oh, it's so pretty. So this is the yarn. It's self-striping yarn. You can see here. Look. Now, here's the thing. This is self-striping yarn for knitted socks. I will be crocheting socks with this, so hopefully it will work. I'm not sure if it will, if it won't, but I'm going to try it because the way it's done, if you look at the picture, you should be able to get contrasting heels and cuffs with this yarn. But I don't know if that's going to happen because my crochet socks gauge is going to be way different than if I was knitting it. But it's very pretty, and we shall experiment to see what the result is with that yarn. Then I visited a shop that was actually not part of the San Diego crawl. It's the only shop that is in San Diego that was not part of the crawl, and the only reason we went there is because I told Zelda I knew about this shop. And when we went to visit her, she said she wasn't part of it because she was closing down. So her shop was closing. But I did get to pick up this Cascade Yarns Luminosa yarn, which I thought was really pretty. I was thinking hat for this. And this is 52% viscose, 44% alpaca, and 4% merino wool. It's got a really nice halo, and it's like shiny. So I thought, oh, this would make a really pretty hat. So I bought that. And the only other yarn that I bought was at the Black Sheep which is this lovely little shop in San Diego, and it's a Malabrigo yarn called Moon Trio Crescent. It's their Machita. I saw this. Okay, the way that they display their Malabrigo at the shop is amazing. They just hang it untwisted on their walls, so you just see the whole hank of yarn untwisted, and you can see all the different ones, and then you can pick whichever one you want. And this color was just calling to me. It's beautiful, 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 beautiful. I loved it. So that is what I bought yarn wise at the San Diego Yarn Crawl. Now I went to a shop called Yarn and Thread Expressions, and I saw several yarn bowls that were felted, and I was really attracted to them. I really liked the way they look. Some of them had these really beautiful buttons, and so I asked them if the bowls were for sale, and it happened to be that the pattern was for sale. And I thought, you know what? I'm really interested in that. Now, it's a knitted pattern, but I don't really care. I think I can knit this, and I think it's going to be amazing. So the pattern comes with three different types of bowls. Here's the first one. It's made with Malabrigo yarn. And here is the second one. And you see how it's got this like little metal thing detailed there. It's really pretty. There's something very organic about the shape of these bowls because they're felted and made out of fabric that really intrigued me. And then here's a really good look. This is made with Malabrigo Chunky. And like I said, I love this detail of cinching it together with that little clasp. The pattern is called Basic Yarn Bowl. It doesn't have a designer's name attached to it, but if you're really interested in this, contact me and I will contact them to see how you can purchase the pattern. Here's another felted yarn bowl. And I wanted to make sure that I had what I needed to be able to make it. And I bought the needles for it. She also said I could probably crochet a bowl and felt it. But I feel like I wanted to learn to be able to knit these type of things. And so I bought some Knitter's Pride Dreams that were the size that I needed for that. And the other thing that I found there that I really liked, because I'm a big stationery person, I love stationery, that they were having a clearance of a bunch of cards there, and I found this card that I thought was so funny, and I found this card that I thought was really beautiful. I love art like this. I love sort of like abstract figurative art, and this card was calling me, so I bought those two cards. So that is, oh wait, no, I have something else that I bought. Where is that? No, that's it. That's all I bought at the San Diego Yarn Crawl. See, very, very restrained, and like I said, just looking at this right now, I'm like, I want to cast this on. I want to try my hand. And I have Malabrigo that I can use. So maybe that will happen. So the next thing I want to share with you is what I got at Stitches West in Pasadena. So Stitches West in Pasadena, as I mentioned, I went there with Zelda. Her YouTube name is Zelda NRJ3. I will put a link down there so that you can do. She does a lot of sharing of things that she gets, and she gets a lot of beautiful things from all over the world. She's also a rep for Darn Good Yarn, and I believe she has a code that if you order from her link that you get 20% off, I believe. So check out her channel if you want to try out Darn Good Yarn. I found this scarf. This is a pattern for a scarf that I saw at Stitches West that I really liked. It's called Slices of Pie Scarf by Ann Wicker. I really like the way that this scarf looks. So I found this, I bought this pattern there. And I had no intentions of buying yarn. I told Zelda I am not buying yarn. So I looked at all the yarn. Did I want to buy yarn? Yes. I did want to buy yarn. Was there beautiful yarn? Yes. But I really thought I just have so much yarn that I brought back from Yarndale. There's nothing that's really going to compel me to buy it. So I was very restrained. We got there. We were on the floor by 11. I think they started at like 10 o'clock, and we got there. They opened the doors at 10, and I think we were on the floor by 11. And I went the whole day, and I didn't purchase anything until we were on our way out, and I saw this knitted shawl that was just beautiful. It was just so beautiful to me. And then I started talking to the two gentlemen that were there. It happens to be a yarn shop owner who was also a designer, and then there was another gentleman there that was knitting something, and we started talking, and I just got a really good vibe from him. And then we started talking crochet, and he just went on about how his shop is so crochet friendly, and he welcomes crocheters, and he just was so wonderful about the way he expressed himself about trying to attract a crochet customer base to his shop. And I was asking him about the knitted shawl because it was the yarn. The yarn was just simply calling to me. And he said that one of the things that he does in his patterns is that he includes a code that you can, and I forgot the name, is it QR something code, that if you have the app on your phone, you go through the code, and then it takes you directly to the YouTube video that has the tutorial for each section of the shawl, which I thought was amazing. So the designer / store owner's name is Ron Warren. The shawl is called a Heart Piercer shawl, and it looks like this. I love these colors. You guys, these colors, I was just like, I must have walked around the display so many times trying to talk myself out of buying this color. I mean, out of buying the yarn and the pattern, and I just could not do it. I simply fell in love with this shawl, and I bought it. And I believe the name of the shop is called the Twisted Skein, and this here shows you part of the logo, and you can see part of his logo for his shop prominently includes a crochet hook. Let me see if I can pull up a better picture of that logo. The name of the shop is called the Twisted Skein Fiber Studio, and it's in Bakersfield, California. Look at this. Look at their logo. A couple knitted needles and a crochet hook. So if you're telling me that your shop is serious about crochet, Yeah, I'm gonna believe it because you've got that as part of your logo, which is not something that you see every day. I've yet to see a yarn shop that incorporates crochet uh, imagery in any other signage. So I was really, really happy to support this shop. I was really happy to support Ron. And just from talking to him, he was very serious about growing a crochet community in his shop. But as I said, part of the reason that, because I told him, I said, I have never even completed a knitting project. You guys saw my attempts at knitting, and this is like a serious knitting project. But the QR code that takes you to a tutorial for each section of the shawl makes me feel like, okay, I can try and do it. And he was very gracious and said that if I had any issues, just contact him. So this is a heart piercer shawl that is made up of these beautiful, beautiful yarns. I simply could not walk away from these. This is called, and you know, it's worsted weight, which is, I'm really happy about because it's been a struggle for me to knit with fingering weight yarn. And so this is called Cinnabar, and it's this beautiful red color. 100% merino, and it's 210 yards. So the whole shawl is about, it's less than 700 yards. Then this one here is called Ice Path, and it's this really, really pretty blue color. And he dyes all the yarn, he said. And then the dreaded black, but it's so pretty, Blackthorn. So these three make that beautiful shawl. I don't have the needles for it. I have to get needles for it, but I won't do that until I'm actually going to focus on making the shawl, because I've already purchased knitting needles for several projects that are just sitting there waiting to be started. Then, as I said, I spent the day with Zelda, and she sugar mommed me because a lot of things that she bought two of, and just like kind of handed me one, which was really, really nice of her. So one of the things that she purchased were from Slip Stitch Studios, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of Laura and Slip Stitch Studios. She has the most amazing bags, and she created what she calls, these are like little sleeves that you put your yarn in. So if you're center pulling, it keeps them together. So this is, the yarn goes in here, and then you center pull, and then it keeps the yarn together. And this is a Frida Kahlo one that I got. And then I got this one here, which is a llama one, which this I think is the same motif as the llama stitch markers that I have, and I think Hannah has one. And then we came across this, we came across a stand that had the cutest bags. So I'm going to show you the bag that I bought, but if you're easily offended by profanity, then look away, because bitch please. I just love this bag. I just love it. So I bought this bag, and I bought one for Zelda, and then she bought the pin, and then you can see the company is called Honey Girl Farms, and it's www.sheepandhoney.com is where you can get your own bitch please pin. I love it. I love this pin. And then right where you walked in was a huge uh, shop display. I mean, it took like a huge corner of the front by Stunning String Studio, and they had yarn, they had stitch markers, they have everything, everything. You could just walk in there and you would be done. You would just, they had patterns, they had everything, but they had these really really pretty stitch markers. And so this these stitch markers reminded me of the one that Trina, who is Brown Eyed Girl, gifted to me at Yarndale. And it's these little crystal ones that I thought were so pretty. So I got these. And then I got some Doctor Who stitch markers that I really, really liked. These are going to be hard to see, but there you go. So I got those stitch markers. And then Knit Picks happened to be there. And he had a yarn that I wish I would have bought, but I figure if I really wanted, I could go online to get it. And it's an undyed wool yarn. It was like $6.99 for a skein. It was super soft. It was really nice. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was one of their undyed yarns that they had there. And they also had, I think this is Sparkle. Yeah, Sparkle is the knitting unicorn. And what's funny is that I said to the lady, I'm pretty sure that Sparkles knows how to crochet as well. And she just started laughing because, you know, why can't Sparkles be crocheting something? But I was really happy to receive this. And from Stunning String Studio, Zelda purchased a couple of these little scissors that are so sharp. Really, really sharp. And I like them because they're small and they can just go on a little project bag. And then they had these kits that had all sorts of, they're calling it a tool kit. It had all sorts of really neat things, like a tape measure, which you can never have too many of these. You know what? I have about 4 or 5 of these, and let me tell you, every time I go looking for a tape measure, I can never find them. So I say you can never have too many tape measures. And it's got a row counter. I've never used a row counter, but I have one now. Then there's project detail cards, which I thought was really cool. You can keep track of your projects. And there's a pen, and there's stitch markers, you know, little pink stitch markers. But then there's this really, really beautiful, I don't really know what this is. I think this might be to help knitters with drop stitches, but I think it's also like jewelry. I don't know, but it's this crochet hook. It's this crochet hook with this little clasp, and one of the ladies was wearing it as a necklace, which I thought was really pretty. So thank you so much, Zelda, for the lovely gifts. She also treated me to a delicious Italian dinner. And we were missing Miss Stephanie because we were supposed to meet her, but she ended up going the day before. But we were missing you. We miss you, Stephanie. Hopefully we can hang out soon and crochet. Although Stephanie's knitting up a storm, you guys. I don't know if you watched her last podcast. She's doing a lot of knitting, which is really cool. So that is Yarnopolis. I had, like I said, I've been really reserved about purchasing things because of, you know, all the purchasing that was done in the UK. And then I just finalized plans with Zelda. We will be going to Stitches SoCal, which is in, I believe, the end of February. We will be there for sure Friday, Saturday. So if any of you guys are heading to Stitches in February, let me know, or let Zelda know, and maybe we can, get together and crochet. I think we're definitely going to be there for the pajama party, and then whatever else develops. So that is one thing that is on the calendar for us for next year is Stitches 2019. So that's exciting. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is that I'm working on two things on my Ravelry group, which I'm excited about. Number one is, I mentioned it on the last podcast, I've created what's called the Podcasters Marketplace. And that is a place where I am entering the names of podcasters who are also designers or have Etsy shops or have online shops. So if I mention, for example, I mentioned Rosina, you can click in the down bar and you will get a link to the Ravelry group. And there you will find a thread that's called Podcasters Marketplace. And I've tried to alphabetize it. Now, it's not all up to date. I'm still working on it. But that is the place eventually that I hope to have all the names of people who I know podcast and who also have goods and services to share with the crochet community. So I'm excited about that. And the other thing I'm excited about is that because I show so many patterns on my podcast, and one of the things that I had mentioned that I wanted to get your opinion on was show notes. And so it's been mostly people have said that, whatever makes my life easier is what I should go with. And a lot of people have said that they do not even look at show notes. Some people say they do like the show notes. So as a compromise, what I decided to do was, for each episode that I upload to YouTube, you will go to Ravelry and find a bundle in the upper right hand corners where the bundles are. And you can find the bundle for the episode that will have all the patterns that I talk about. So, for example, for Pattern Palooza, you will find all the links to patterns that I talk about there in the bundle for that specific episode. It will have the episode number and the date. And the reason I really like doing that is because most of us are on Ravelry. So I figure if I put the patterns in a bundle, you could easily click on that pattern and add it to your library or favorite it or, purchase it, whatever you want to do, but it's there. So I'm not individually having to type out all of these links and pattern names. Just go to the bundle and find the pattern that you're interested in, and then you can do what you want with that. So that's one of the ways that I'm modifying show notes. I will, like I said, a lot of times I write the information on the episode. So I will go ahead and keep doing that. I will try and write as much information as I can on the actual episode, on the video, and then just put some links down below for you. That is one of the ways that I am going to alternate, not alternate, what is the word? That I'm going to change the way I do show notes. So let's move on to Pattern Palooza. And I do have a Pattern Palooza that I'm excited about. Having made a couple hats. This is actually an old hat. This is a Malabrigo yarn. And it's just a very simple, I think it's the Hopeful Honey way of doing a beanie. I don't know. It's just, you start at the crown and you increase and then you go down. It's like no big deal. You guys, you can find a pattern for a beanie, half double crochet beanie, just about anywhere on Ravelry. So, but I made this a long time ago, and I'm finally getting to really enjoy hats because I've got the short hair now. So for Pattern Palooza, I've divided it into two ways of doing it. I want to make a Christmas hat, and I found some patterns for Christmas hats that I thought were really fun. So number one is, it's a paid pattern. It's called the Put Beanie by Sly Design, and it's a Christmas hat, Christmas tree hat. It's this one right here. I thought that would be really fun to make. Then I really like those elf hats with the long tail, whatever, and the little poof on the end. And I found a paid pattern. It's called Holiday Elf Stocking Cap by Emmy Ferranda. And it's this one right here. I thought that was really cute. And you can see that you can really customize this hat, which I thought was really cute. And it comes from, you can make it baby, small, and large. So you can make the whole family hats if you want. Then I found a free pattern for Little Helper Crochet Elf Hat by Janaya Srinard. That one right there. So that's really cute. Another elf hat, which is a free pattern by Chastity Okendo. Chastity or Okendo. Let's go with that. But this is it. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And then Rosina, last year, and I remembered, last year at the very last minute, Rosina designed a hat, a Santa hat, and she posted it up, and she was like, oh, it's too late, blah, blah, blah. But now, Rosina, it's perfect because we can now make your Granny Christmas hat. And look at her handsome boy on that. So I found that one. There's Rosina. And this is a paid pattern. And it uses Style Life Super Chunky. So chunky hat means it gets worked up really quick. But then I was looking at some color work hats that are knitted, and I thought, I bet you there's some crochet color work hats. And I found a paid pattern by Cecilia Lozada, the Christmas hat, which I thought was really cute. Has a snowflake on there. This is a paid pattern. And then Maria Bittner is a designer of the reindeer hat. And this hat is part of a bundle of Christmas themed hats that are so adorable, and I really want to get them. But look at this reindeer hat. There's the reindeer hat, and this is the bundle right here too. So that you can get more patterns for. And then the Christmas tree hat, again by Maria Bittner, is part of also another bundle. I don't know if this particular hat I'm going to show you is part of that bundle I just showed you, but this is her Christmas tree hat that I thought was really cute. And then you see again here the bundle, and here's the reindeer hat. So it probably is part of this bundle here, which is super cute. And then, so those are the Christmas hats. And then I was watching Laurel from the Dabbling Hook, and she was wearing this hat with a brim. And I think she got so many questions about it. She made a separate video where she was showing other hats with brims that she had made. And I really like them, but I don't know that she's developed a pattern for them. I think she's blended two patterns to make what she has. So I found these that I thought were really cute. This is a paid pattern called the Chunky Newsboy Hat Pattern. I thought that was really cute. And then there is a free pattern by the Sequin Turtle, and it's called Winter Blossom Newsboy Hat, which is this one right here. It's by the Sequin Turtle, free pattern. And the one that I'm really thinking about making is called the Honeycomb Lattice Crochet Hat. It is also a free pattern by Esther Looney. I really like the texture of this hat. I think it's really cool. And then going back to a paid pattern, the Finley Newsboy hat by Elise Crochet. This is the one that reminded me the most of one that Laurel was wearing. I really like that. I like the detail of the button. I think that's really pretty. So all of these patterns are in the bundle for this episode. So you can just click on the bundle and then you'll have access. I wanted to go ahead and give you a quick Etsy update. I have a ton of stuff that's going into the Etsy shop tonight, and so by the time the episode airs, it should be available for you, and I would love for you to go ahead and check it out. I'm really excited about some of the things that are going to be available. One of them is this new pin. I've made this pin especially big because I feel like this is the kind of pin that you would wear on you, and that it would be easily read by people as you're walking around a yarn festival. And this is the Yarn Enabler pin that I've created. It comes in 4 different colors because, you know, I just can't make up my mind. So it comes in red, as you see me wearing it. Comes in yellow. It comes in this blue color. And it comes in this purple color. Now, like I've said, this one is a bigger pin, but I have a smaller Yarn Enabler pin that is what I'm calling Little Red Devil. This is the Little Red Devil right here. So, you know, most of us are yarn enablers. When I was at a Yarndale, I just kept saying, oh, you should totally buy that. You should totally buy that. Oh, you need that. And then people would say the same thing to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I totally need that. So we were enabling each other. And that's where the idea, when I was sitting at breakfast with Faye and the other ladies, they were saying, you should totally make a pin that says Yarn Enabler. So here is the Yarn Enabler pin. I also thought that it would be a good idea to make some pins that would help out the whole WIP management thing. So I have a lot of bags and I sometimes forget what's in the bags. And so I created sort of like these pins to help me out to figure out what's in the bag. This is the shawl project pin that would go on a shawl bag. And this is the sock project pin. And then this is the sweater project pin. And as you can see, this sweater is not finished. It's missing part of a sleeve and it's missing the bottom part right here. So I thought those were nice functional pins to have. I'm working on a hat pin. That will be probably part of the next update that I do for the pins in my shop. I have also restocked the Crochet Powers Activate pin, and that one's already available, as well as Nobody Puts Crochet in a Corner. Those have been updated because I reordered some more stock for that. Now, I also developed a pin that I'm really proud about because it really says a lot about our crochet journey. You can read this any way you want, but it says courageously crocheting on. So it could mean that you're courageously crocheting a project that's giving you a hard time, or that you're courageously crocheting despite other factors, health-wise, or whatever you want to, fill in the blank. But I'm really proud of this pin, and I really love this pin. I love it so much that I commissioned bags made with this motif, and I'll show you the bags. That's it for the pins. Those are the pins that are going in the shop. But I had these really nice canvas bags made, for the shop. They are available in the shop. I made them with the shorter handle. You can see it's a big size bag, and they do have a box bottom with a pocket inside. So they have a box bottom. I believe this is a 4-inch box bottom. And they're nice and deep. So I have 22 of these, I think, available in the shop, because I'm keeping one and I'm keeping a couple more to gift to people. So I really love this. And if you purchase this bag, you will also get the pin to go with the bag. The other bags that I have are Christmas themed bags, except for one. And I've shown this bag before, but it was never listed on the shop. But this is now in the shop. This is the guitar bag. This is a rock and roll drawstring bag. This is now available in the shop. And then I have several super cute Christmas bags. These are the medium-sized bags. And they just make me happy. This is the little polar bear bag. And it's got, these are all zipper bags. Cute lining, and the Luna pocket is in all the bags that I'm about to show you. This is, oh, look how cute that is. The little animal bag again with the nice silver polka dot lining. And then this is a really cute. Now this fabric here is a what do they call it? It's a felted, not felted. It's the one that they make blankets out of them. But this is the little red bird, red robin, and there's nice lining on there. This is one of my favorite fabrics. It is the beachy holiday scene. And I have 4 of these bags, but 2 of these have a light blue zipper, and then 2 of them have a dark blue zipper. So they'll be listed as blue and light blue. The lining is this really pretty purple lining. I believe this is the purple lining on these, with the Luna pocket. I think they all have the same color lining. Oh no, they don't. So this one has that lining on it. And that lining on it. So when I list these bags, you're gonna get an option of a light purple lining or the white with the silver dots on them lining, and you're gonna get your choice of a zipper. So it will say blue with purple lining, or light blue with polka dot lining, or dark blue with purple, or the blue with more purple. I'll have the details for, it'll be in the same listing, but you will have the details of the zipper and lining in that listing so that you can get the bag that you want. But I have 4 of those. And then I have this really, really cute Santa and reindeer print that has a nice, I like to keep the linings unfuzzy because I think that if the lining, it has too much going on, it's easier to lose your stitch markers and your hook and whatever else you put in there. So I like to do very neutral linings in my bags. So like I said, I have 3 of those. They all have the same lining, I believe. Let me double check. Yep, they all have that nice tan lining on there. But that's, yeah, 3 of those, super cute. And then I have some small bags that I like to use for stock projects. I think they're perfect for stock projects. So I've got this one's still available, the little puppies that play. And I've got one of the small Santa prints, and still with the Luna pocket for your hook. And then I've got one of the little polar bear ones with that nice lining. I don't know if you can see it. It's got like silver polka dots on there. And then I've got one of, this is such a cute bag. It's got a little bear and squirrels, and it's got that lining on it. All of the bags will come with a Christmas pin and a Christmas themed stitch marker. And so all of these bags will be available as of when the episode airs. I thank you so much for purchasing. Anybody who's purchased from my shop, I thank you so much for your support. It means a lot to me, and actually it does help me out. I mean, it helps me out when you visit my shop and you support it by purchasing the things that are on there. I make everything with love. All my pins are things that I have thoroughly enjoyed designing. I really enjoy sitting down and thinking about putting designs together. I'm gonna up my design game next year by purchasing some professional software. So I look forward to making a lot more pins. I have 1,000 ideas. So the pins are going to keep coming. The crochet pins are going to keep coming. And like I said, I thank you so much for all your support. I would now like to reveal the winner of the 2000 2K subscriber for the Crochet Luna podcast. And I want to say that, first of all, let me explain. I only clicked on the heart icon for each comment because I didn't want to respond to each individual comment because I didn't want to throw the whole comment picker thing off. So I read every comment, and I put a heart by every comment that I read. And there were so many unbelievably lovely comments. And the question was, how have Crochet podcasts changed the way you craft? And I think the overwhelming response is that Crochet podcasts have created community for a lot of people. A lot of people who live in rural areas, a lot of people who don't have access to other people who crochet. It's created a sense of community, and I 100% agree with that. I think what Crochet podcasts have done for me is the same thing. It's created community and friendships and connections, and it has brought a whole new level of depth to my crafting that wasn't there before I started podcasting. And so everybody has said that it has also raised their level of crochet because now they're exposed to patterns and stitches that they were never that they didn't even know existed. And so it's elevated their crochet game, by seeing different yarns, seeing different patterns, seeing how people are making these different projects. It's also influenced them and helped them step out of their comfort zone, which I think is really important. And so, yeah, I think that crochet podcasts are important. I think that they do add value to our crafting life, and it's not just us crafting in like our little corners of the world by ourselves. No, we have access to all of our crochet community, and it was really lovely to read everybody's comments. But there is one winner and one winner only. And the winner is going to get my Loop London bag that I purchased. Well, not mine. I purchased it for you guys. the Loop London bag that I purchased, and the wonderful yarn that was donated by Catherine of Afternoon Treats. And you will get also the little minder for your progress keepers, as well as a couple of the pins and the Crochet Luna, although you might already have this, because the winner is Miss Haley Reimer, who is Hayri on Instagram and on Ravelry. I was so happy to see your name, Haley, because you are such an active participant in this group, and you were wonderful in the sock along, and you always managed to find the time to comment. So I'm really happy to be sending this package to you. For those of you who don't know, Haley lives north of the 40th parallel, which is way up north where it's super, super cold. And she's expecting her second baby. And so she is, she's got her little daughter who's so adorable. So she's got her hands full. So Haley, I will be, I believe I have your address, so I'll be shipping this off to you probably by the end of this week, because you know Thanksgiving, it's going to be crazy. So with that, I leave you guys. I wish you guys celebrating Thanksgiving a wonderful Thanksgiving. Eat up. Eat everything that you want. Enjoy it. You only live once. Eat as much as you want. Crochet as much as you want. Enjoy the people in your life. And, you know, just have a good day. It's a day to be thankful for being alive. It's a day to be thankful for the people around you. It's a day to give thanks for so many things. And so I know holidays can be hard for a lot of people. And if you're one of those people having a hard time, I send you love and good vibes. And if you want to reach out to me, reach out to me. And I hope maybe you'll be watching this on Thanksgiving Day. And I just want to say I love you guys. And be well. Crochet on. I am Crochet Luna on Instagram, on Ravelry. I'm not even going to mention my blog or Facebook. I am Crochet Luna on both those things, but there are changes coming to both of those platforms. But if you want to reach out to me, I am good on Instagram, and I'm good on my email. So have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I will see you next time. Bye.